What's good, bro? How you? I'm all right. Yo, yo, yo. What's good? Peace. Peace to all the aboriginals. Assalamu alaikum to all the Muslims. And what's good to all the human beings. That's everybody, you feel me? Alaikum assalam. I had something on my mind, man, with all this stuff going on. And I can't even say just in America, but all the stuff going on in the world, because everybody is being affected by it. But I just want to say that we got to get out of this Western way of thinking that we have, mainly in the United States, but of course in other countries as well. You know what I'm saying? And not only countries in the Western Hemisphere, everybody who's being affected by Western thought and Western society in the entire world. You feel what I'm saying? And you know that the majority of American citizens have a Western psychology. What's good, bro? How you? And when I say Western psychology, what I mean is a racist mentality. Believe it or not, most Americans, most people living in America, no matter what color you are, have a racist mentality, have the mentality of a white supremacist, and that's real prevalent and dominant in today's society. Feel what I'm saying? So how do we know that the majority of American citizens or Americans have a racist mentality, a Western view of things, a white supremacist mindset, which is the same thing as a Western mindset? How do we know that? If you ask the average person in America, and this is statistically, if you ask the average person in America, they will tell you that, ask them the question, do the descendants of slaves deserve reparations? And they'll tell you no. And because we've been so plagued with this Western mentality, their reasoning for saying no, black people or the descendants of slaves don't deserve reparations, it sounds like a good reason. It sounds plausible. It sounds like a good reason only because we all share that same mentality. And when we hear someone's response, usually the response is, oh, well, slaves aren't alive no more, so we don't owe anybody anything. Or the people that own slaves are not alive anymore, so why should we pay for something they did? And that's just straight ignorance. That's only a Western mentality. The reason it's ignorance is in African thought or in Aboriginal thought, the original thought of human beings on planet Earth, we are our ancestors. You can't separate me from my ancestors. Everything that my ancestors were and everything that they went through is recorded in my genetic makeup. I am my ancestors. I am an accumulation of all of my ancestors. You understand what I'm saying? So if they went through slavery, then I went through slavery because it's in my genes. It's been scientifically proven that when people go through trauma, it changes your genes. It alters your genes. It gets recorded in your genetics. And when you have children, you can pass that trauma, that pain, down to your descendants. And that's real talk. But, you know, a Western mindset don't think like that. How you doing?
All right, how are you?
Good.
Good.
So that's what I mean. That's what I mean by that. And the same thing for the descendants of the slave master. The posterity of the slave master. They are their ancestors as well. And you see, there's a common thing that Americans know about, and that is inheritance. A common term that we hold high in America, and that's inheritance. So if my ancestors were owed 40 acres and a mule, if they were owed for the work that they put in, they not only went through slavery, they went through genocide and denationalization. You understand what I'm saying? That was the worst Holocaust that ever happened. Black people have been victims of the worst Holocaust in history. So if you owe them, then that means if they would have got what they were owed, us, the descendants of the enslaved, would have inherited what our ancestors were owed. But because they were not given what they were owed, does that mean that the slave master, does that mean that the United States government gets to get away with not giving us what we're owed just because our ancestors are not here anymore? That don't make no sense. In any other case, that's like somebody telling you that your grandpa owned a house and your grandpa dies and they tell you, oh, well, you didn't work for the house. You didn't pay this mortgage. So this house is not yours. Or your father, your mother dies and she means to pass you down that house. She means to pass you down some money. And that's like the court system telling you that wasn't your money. That's not owed to you. That's the same thing. So the descendants of slaves, aboriginals, black people, Africans, whatever you want to call us, we are owed reparations, period. Walaikum assalam. Shout out to South Africa. Shout out to the whole, I don't even like to call it Africa, El Kebalan. The whole El Kebalan period. Because the white man named it Africa. We didn't name it that. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to get out of this Western mentality. And that's one thing that Honorable Elijah Muhammad he came with a whole nother way of thinking to get us out of the Western psychology. And that's one of the reasons why he was so important. He gave us a whole new way of thinking that the average person in America could not conceive because we were so plagued with the Western mindset. You understand what I'm saying? So, I just want to talk about that real quick. You know, the majority of American people are racist, period. They're white supremacists. And how do you know? Ask them, do black people deserve reparations? And they'll tell you no. And the only reason we think that their reasoning is something acceptable is because we all have white supremacist, racist, Western mindsets. And we got to get out of that. So, I'm going to get off of here real quick. Enjoy the rest of this. I'm going to call it a summer day because it's nice out here. Shadi Akhi.